Ukraine continues its relentless attacks on Russia's positions in border Kursk region. A video footage circulated in Telegram app shows Ukrainian troops strike a Russian military position in Kursk region with MiG-29 fighter jets. The Ukrainian Air Force used French-made AASM-250 Hammer air bombs in the attack. The video footage has captured the moment of the strike on a Russian military facility in the region. The strike was followed by powerful explosions. Being an all-weather, smart air-to-surface standoff bomb, AASM-250 Hammer is widely used in Ukrainian strikes on Russian positions. Ukrainian troops have stepped up attacks on Russia's territory with Western-supplied bombs. It should be noted that Kursk has been the focus of fightings, with Russia aiming to return lands captured during Ukraine's surprise incursion in August last year. In March, Ukraine resumed attacks on Kursk. Drone operators of the 412th Read Unmanned Aerial Systems Battalion of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, together with the Dzmil unit of the 78th Brigade, detected and struck 3 Buk M2 and Buk M3 anti-aircraft missile systems belonging to the Russian army in the Kursk region of Russia within 12 hours. As a result of the strikes carried out by FPV drones, the launchers and radars of the complexes, each worth $50 million, were blown up and disabled. The strikes caused the detonation of missiles in the launchers, which resulted in a powerful explosion. Although one of the complexes, which additional devices were disabled, tried to move away from the area, it could not do so and became the target of drone strikes. The losses of the Russian occupiers in the battle for Toretsk in Donetsk Oblast have exceeded 15,000 killed. The total losses, including the wounded, are even greater. This was reported on air by the head of the communications department of the 100th Separate Mechanized Brigade, Captain Sergei Kaminsky. As the officer noted, the brigade has been in the Toretsk direction since mid-July 2024. The battle for the city has been going on for 9 months. During this time, the enemy suffered, without any exaggeration, catastrophic losses in manpower. The number of irreparable losses of the enemy exceeded 15,000 in Toretsk. These are the occupiers who were destroyed. If we talk about the total losses of the enemy in our direction during this period, then this is already more than 50,000 personnel. Kremlin propagandists have already announced the liberation of Toretsk several times. We all remember this well. There were even several attempts to hang out a dirty tricolor rag somewhere on the outskirts of Toretsk, but all these attempts failed, said Kaminsky. The officer noted that fierce street fighting continues in Toretsk, and contact can be very close. Kaminsky recalled that there were situations when Ukrainian and enemy positions in a building were separated only by a corridor. You understand how close this contact is, how fierce the fighting is. He added that the unprecedented battle for Toretsk is possible thanks to the heroism of Ukrainian soldiers. But, first of all, it is the infantry. What our infantry is doing now in Toretsk, perhaps, has no precedent in world military history. So that you understand, it is not possible to change personnel at the positions in Toretsk often. Because entering the positions, leaving the positions is a mortal danger. And so we had cases when a specific fighter was at the positions for 77 days. He returned, rested, and entered the positions again. There were cases when fighters were at the positions in Toretsk for more than 100 days. That is more than 3 months. To say that this is heroism is to say nothing. These are simply titans of people. Our brigade has long been called the Steel 100. You understand why this is so, the officer said. Kaminsky explained that Toretsk opens the way for the Russians to Konstantinovka, one of the 4 cities of the Big Belt: Konstantinovka, Drushkovka, Kramatorsk, Slavyansk. Konstantinivka is already getting hit very hard, because the city suffers catastrophically from shelling. If KABs and longer-range things reach Kramatorsk and Slavyansk, then Konstantinivka suffers many times more. Today Konstantinivka, unfortunately, suffers very, very seriously. Not to mention Toretsk. These are no longer ruins, these are already the remains of ruins, he added. Russia is forced to blow up bridges and dams in the regions to stop the offensive of Ukrainian troops into the Belgorod and Bryansk regions. This was stated by Yevgeny Daiky, former commander of the Aidar battalion of the Ukrainian army, expert. The military says that preparations are underway to blow up bridges and dams in Bryansk. This is not happening by chance, they are forced to do this to stop us, it is done out of desperation. These methods are used when it is impossible to stop the enemy with military equipment, the former commander said. He recalled that Ukraine used such tactics only once, at the beginning of a full-scale war, by blowing up a dam near Irpin. There was a question that the enemies would enter Kiev. Those who gave the order to blow up the dam actually saved the capital. But everyone remembers what kind of actions these were. We stopped the Russians in front of the capital with a crowd of volunteers who, in civilian clothes, received Kalashnikovs with wooden butts and went to Irpin by bus along this dam. And now the Russians are blowing up bridges and dams, but already on the territory of the Russian Federation. That is, they directly admit that their army is not capable of stopping us on the territory of the Belgorod and Bryansk regions. That all hope is in the landscape, added Daiky. Ukraine ISO destroys bridges in Russian territory. Recently, Ukrainian Air Force Sukhoi Su-27 fighters, modified to Lob American and French-made precision glide bombs, are blowing up bridges in western Russia. Dropping bridges over the Siversky Donets River and other waterways in Belgorod and Kursk could be the key to this effort. Modified to carry Hammer glide bombs from France and similar joint direct attack munitions and small diameter bombs from the United States, the Su-27s are equipped for the task. But flying close enough to western Russia to target its bridges is dangerous even for the speedy, maneuverable Su-27s. Ukraine went to war in February 2022 with no more than 57 flyable Su-27s, and has lost at least 16 in action, including 6 that were damaged or destroyed last summer in a Russian missile attack while parked at Mirgorod Air Base, 100 miles from Ukraine's northern border with Russia.